Divinely revealed, the miraculous truths of higher dimensions every spiritualist must manifest in the humble heart of a bustling English town. Amid the clink of teacups and the whispers of prayer, stood a small church that crackled with an otherworldly presence. Every Tuesday night, as stars twinkled like heavenly candles above, Sarah, a devoted single mother, gathered her prayer group to permeate the air with desperate hope, bringing together broken souls seeking divine intervention. On this particular night, the wind howled like a wailing spirit, and the flickering candles cast dancing shadows across the wallpaper, a divine ambience enveloped in faith and fear. As they bowed their heads, the soft murmur of Sarah's voice rose above the storm. "Saint Jude, patron of lost causes, hear my prayers," she cried, trembling with emotion. Each plea was heavy with the weight of her son's illness, a specter of despair looming larger with every passing day. Even the most devout began to murmur, their faith shaken, teetering on the precipice of skepticism. But here, within these sacred walls, miraculous manifestations had been known as sudden warmth, sparkling lights, or the scent of lilacs, reminders of heaven's lingering presence. Then came that fateful moment. Her pastor, deep in thought, suddenly stood. "Embrace a faith that defies fear," he proclaimed, his eyes ablaze with a fervor that made the air feel electric. The congregation buzzed, captivated. It was a holy spark. Some called it divine revelation. Others rolled their eyes, shifting uncomfortably as doubt clung like cobwebs to their hearts. The air thickened with tension. Who would rightfully bear the burden of faith and fear cast side by side? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As days turned to weeks, despair clung to Sarah like a second skin. She sought every remedy she could, even diving into alternative treatments that promised miracles but delivered only despair. Just when her heart felt most hollow, a flicker of light appeared during a market visit. An elderly stranger, eyes glimmering with ageless wisdom, grasped her hand. "Dear child," he murmured, "there's a divine purpose woven through your tears. Trust in it." Those words danced in her mind, sparking a glimmer of hope that she thought was long extinguished. By the next prayer meeting, it felt as if they stood at a crossroads. Uncertainty flickered like the candles casting warmth around the room, yet the deeper truths unveiled by the stranger lingered among them. As stories of Sarah's spirit rallied the townsfolk, the prayers multiplied, enveloping her son in a cocoon of unparalleled love. The church became a crucible of hope, a place where souls united in fervent community prayer, echoing with promises of divine light and miraculous possibilities. As Sarah knelt at the altar, she sensed something profound shifting within and around her. Was it mere devotion that could alter the course of fate? Yet, in the wake of her fervent prayers, an indescribable miracle was about to unfold, one that would change everything. The very fabric of their realities trembled within the threshold of divine grace. What awaited them in this dance between faith and fear, and could they truly embrace it as one? As the congregation held their breath, she felt the stirring of eternity at her heels, and a question hung heavy in the air: would they dare to cross the threshold together? Moments stretched into an eternity as Sarah knelt, each heartbeat echoing in the dim light of the church. A hush fell over the congregation, their collective breath caught between hope and despair. She could feel the weight of their prayers wrapping around her like a soft embrace. The flickering candles seemed to flicker more brightly, almost as if they responded to the intensity of her longing. Would the heavens truly bend to her broken heart? Outside, the storm raged, but within those walls, something began to shift. The weight of fear slowly dissipated, replaced by a rising tide of faith. Sarah blinked back tears, gazing at the altar draped in simple cloth. It felt like a gateway to something greater, something that transcended her understanding. She thought back to the stranger's words, a gentle reminder that she was not alone. The joy and warmth that radiated from her fellow believers filled the air with a palpable energy, igniting flickers of fervor in their eyes, then, it happened. A soft rustling came from the back of the church, breaking the sacred silence. The pastor, heart still aflame with conviction, began to speak again. Friends, when we come before the Lord with genuine hearts, we tap into a divine energy. What if we laid aside our doubts tonight? What if we opened ourselves fully to His will? It was as if He'd unleashed the very winds of heaven. Whispers of conviction and agreement traveled through the crowd like waves, surging with power. "Let us pray again," he urged, his voice steady. With renewed fervor, they joined hands, creating a circle of faith. As their voices intertwined, rising like incense, Sarah felt an unexplainable warmth flood her being. Each word became a melody, each prayer weaving an intricate tapestry of light and belief that spread outwards into the ether. In that moment, vision flickered in her mind, a glimpse into the unseen realm. She saw her son, a beacon of light amidst swirling darkness. Suddenly, the verses from the scriptures flowed into her consciousness, words she had read countless times, but now resonating with unprecedented clarity. "For I know the plans I have for you," the promise reverberated, "plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." It felt alive, speaking directly into her situation. Her heart raced as she opened her eyes, glancing around. Inspired by the unity, the air pulsed with an electric anticipation. Each face echoed trust, the atmosphere crackled with a palpable presence. Could faith alter the course of time? Could it challenge the very fabric of the universe? Sarah closed her eyes again, breathing deeply as she became more attuned to the divine energy that encircled them. Suddenly, she saw not just the flickering candlelight but every individual light within the congregation, their hopes and fears intertwined, rising as one harmonious offering to the Creator. Tears rolled down her cheeks, not out of sadness, but from a profound realization. Together, they were a force summoned by love, but as the pinnacle of their worship reached, a sudden silence engulfed the church. A mesmerizing stillness followed, the kind that felt like the breath of God. What lay behind that silence? Where would this divine engagement lead them? They stood on the brink of revelation, ready to encounter the mysterious unfolding of God's plan. Would they venture deeper into this sanctuary of faith? Or would they retreat back into doubt? Sarah's heart thrummed wildly with both uncertainty and hope, an intricate dance of divine mystery waiting to be unveiled. The question lingered: what miracle awaited them next? In that heavy stillness, a sense of expectant wonder wrapped around each member of the congregation like a warm blanket. Sarah felt the tug of her heart, urging her forward. It was as if the silence had woven a thread connecting each soul, urging them to lean into this moment. The flickering candles seemed to hold their breath, illuminating the sacred space with a golden glow. Then, breaking through the silence, a low murmur echoed from the pastor, resonating deep within Sarah's spirit. God is here. He is pouring out His love. Let us open our hearts wide. Let us prepare for the miraculous. His voice, steady and reassuring, seemed to defy the chaos of the storm raging just outside the thick church walls. With every word, Sarah felt her hesitation slip away. A kinship, stronger than blood, pulsed within her, threading through the trust and shared yearning of her fellow believers. It spoke of a longing not just for answers, but for divine connection. An understanding that in their vulnerability, they were stepping into a vast ocean of grace. When they prayed, they weren't simply making requests, they were inviting the awe of the Almighty into their reality, into their pain. As their prayers rose in harmony, Sarah began to feel something strange yet beautiful, a tingling warmth that enveloped her hands. She opened her eyes to the collective rise of hands in the congregation, lifted toward the heavens, like branches seeking the sun. Surrender, a voice whispered inside her. It nudged her, gently drawing her attention away from her own fears. In that moment, she understood something profound. Surrendering wasn't about giving up, it was about letting God's will become her strength. Each prayer joined to another, forming an unbreakable chain of faith that reached beyond the sanctuary, weaving through the storm, reaching for a light that felt both distant and near. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. A gust of cool air swept through, rustling the fringes of the altar cloth, and Sarah looked up. At the entrance stood a cloaked figure, a silhouette against the dim light, a stranger yet familiar. A collective gasp swept through the congregation. "Fear not," the figure spoke with a voice that seemed to echo off the walls. "For I bring a message of hope." Gasps were replaced by whispers as eyes widened in anticipation, trying to decipher this unforeseen visitor. The pastor stepped forward, unflinching. "What is your message?" His voice was strong, grounded in faith, inviting yet reverent. The figure stepped closer, the light catching a glimmer of hope in their eyes. "The time of revelation has come. The struggle has not gone unseen. The cracks of despair will become rivers of living water." Before the figure could finish, the ground beneath quaked slightly. Sarah felt a pulse beneath her, radiating warmth and strength. Each heartbeat came alive, echoing the truth enveloping them all. Struggles forged unity, despair ushered in hope. But as quickly as the energy surged, the cloaked presence fell silent, leaving an air of intrigue. What will this transformation look like? Sarah wondered, her heart racing again. She sensed the congregation's collective question, straining against the remnants of fear. As moments stretched, anticipation blended with wonder. Would they discover the depths of healing? Or would they face a challenge that shook their faith to its core? The truth would unveil itself, but this was just the beginning of a journey deeper than they had ever imagined. What awaited them beyond the veil of comfort? What were the truths yet to be revealed? The cloaked figure stood there, a silhouette shrouded in mystery, and the air tingled with excitement and apprehension. An invisible thread bound the hearts of those present, connecting them in their shared longing for understanding. Sarah could feel it in the way her own heartbeat quickened, echoing the unspoken queries of her fellow worshippers. As the wind howled outside, the pastor's voice broke the stillness once more. "What is this new beginning you speak of? How do we prepare ourselves?" There was a fervor in his words, a deep yearning that reached toward the heavens. The figure tilted their head, allowing the soft candlelight to dance over their face, revealing a serene smile. Transformation begins within. The heart must be ready to release old burdens, to shed the weight that clouds the spirit. You are being called to lift one another in faith. Sarah's mind swirled with the implications. Release. How profound, yet terrifying. What would she need to let go of to embrace this calling? Doubts surfaced, whispering to her like the storm outside, but she steadied herself, focusing inward. Could she really surrender her fears for the sake of something greater? Around her, murmurs rippled through the congregation, interspersed with gasps of recognition as they grappled with the weight of the message. Some lifted their hands higher, palms open and expectant, while others bowed their heads in introspection. It was a tapestry of faith, woven together by the divine thread of hope. Then the cloaked figure continued, their voice steady and soothing. "Not all will find joy in their release, for change can be painful. But know this, through the shedding of the old, the new will emerge. And what grows shall be bountiful rivers of living water for parched souls." A sudden hush fell over the room, punctuated only by the distant crack of thunder. Sarah's heart raced. She thought of her own struggles, her own pain, what had felt like endless nights spent wrestling with doubt and fear. Could all of that transform into something beautiful? A flicker of belief ignited within her. As if sensing her thoughts, the figure's gaze pierced through the dim light, locking on Sarah. "You are not alone, beloved. Each of you carries burdens, but together, you will turn sorrow into strength. Your stories are interwoven, leading to a greater tapestry of divine truth." Sarah felt the warmth of that truth radiate through her, wrapping her up in the promise of hope. She exchanged glances with others, those who shared the weight of her journey. Tears brimmed in some eyes, and smiles softened once furrowed brows. The spirit of unity thrummed in the air, igniting a fierce sense of commitment among them. "Now is the time," the figure urged. "Prepare your hearts, for the divine is upon you, ready to manifest the extraordinary. Embrace this moment of revelation. You will witness miracles, wonders that none could even fathom." Excitement buzzed through the congregation, igniting sparks of anticipation that swirled like leaves in a storm. But even as hope blossomed, shadows of uncertainty lingered. Sarah looked around, sensing the collective heartbeat of the room. What sacrifices lay ahead? What part of themselves would they need to relinquish for this new beginning? As the cloaked figure stepped back, the pastor took a deep breath, looking at each member of the congregation. His eyes glimmered with urgency. Let us prepare for prayer, for the journey ahead calls us into the depths of faith we've yet to explore. Sarah's heart swelled with hope and resolve. They were on the cusp of something monumental, a transformation that would test their spirits but maybe, just maybe, come with a promise of miraculous truth. What treasures awaited them in the depths of this journey? Would they find the strength to face the trials ahead, or would they waver as fear crept in once more? The answers lay just beyond their grasp, ready to unfold. The pastor's voice resonated in the quiet room like a bell tolling at dusk. Let us bow our heads together in prayer. Sarah felt the familiar weight of her anxieties, momentarily pushing against the rising tide of hope within her. She closed her eyes, taking a deep breath, letting it flow out like the fading light of day. With every inhale, she sought strength. With every exhale, she aimed to release her burdens into the care of something greater. The cloaked figure quietly melded back into the shadows, almost as if retreating into an ethereal realm where their wisdom was nurtured. The congregation, unified in prayer, became a living force, a collective heartbeat pulsing under the weight of shared faith. Who were they, if not travelers on a path marked with the footprints of both fear and courage? Lord, the pastor began, his voice unwavering, help us to shed the weight that holds us back. Guide us in this act of release. Let us be open to your transformative power. Words floated around the room, wrapping every soul in warmth and tenderness. Sarah felt a comforting pressure in her chest, a soft prod from the Spirit urging her to embrace the hard journey ahead. It seemed as if the walls themselves listened, absorbing every whisper of devotion. As prayer deepened, Sarah's heart opened a little wider. She envisioned herself surrounded by a swirling light, bathing her in gentle waves of peace. Changes brewed on the horizon, but her spirit seemed to echo back, reassuring her that she was never alone in this struggle. The exaltation of faith rippled outward, filling the space with a sacred energy. Sarah peeked through her lashes as the pastor walked through the congregation, his hands lifted, inviting blessing upon them. Each touch was like a warm ember, reassuring and igniting fervor within those graced by his presence. Nurture your hearts, he implored, for the shifts within you will inspire one another. When doubt raises its voice, may love sing louder. The warmth of community poured into Sarah like honey, thick and sweet. She squeezed her eyes shut tighter, letting the moment envelop her. Yet the shadows of fear still loomed. What if she failed? What if all this led to disappointment? Alternating waves of hope and despair danced in her mind, creating a restless storm. And then, like a soft rain after a long drought, the cloaked figure returned to the forefront. A hush fell over the crowd, broken only by the wind howling outside. Do not fear the unknown, the figure whispered, their voice a caress against the tide of uncertainty. For even in darkness, my light shines brightest. The promise in those words wrapped around Sarah's heart. Those who leaned into their vulnerabilities, who faced the storms with courage, would harvest strength beyond their wildest dreams. She admired the reflections in the eyes around her: anticipation, desires, and some a glimpse of fear. Were they not all parts of a divine masterpiece? Tonight, the figure continued, their gaze sweeping over the worshippers, you will embark on a sacred journey, one where what is broken can be renewed. Prepare yourselves, for the real miracles are about to unfold. Sarah sensed the stirring of something grand, a shift in the air that felt electric. As the pastor led into the next phase of their prayer, she knew change was near. It beckoned softly, like a distant song awaiting her answer. Could she brave the waves? Could they all dance across the chaos to embrace a greater truth? A single thought danced through her mind, illuminated by the glimmers of praise erupting around her. What if, in this beautiful surrender, they all unlocked the doors to their souls? Each moment passed with a heartbeat of possibility, awaiting the luminous revelation of the next step toward their destinations. What awaited them when they finally embraced the unknown? What truths would unfold in the steps of faith? The air thickened with anticipation as the pastor's voice faded, drawing Sarah's attention fully back to the present. She felt a surge of electricity in her veins, a divine urgency igniting her spirit. The cloaked figure stepped closer, their presence more pronounced, yet still elusive, wrapped in mystery. "Tonight, we stand on the precipice of revelation," the figure pronounced, their voice imbued with authority and tenderness. "In faith, we discover our true essence. It is time to unveil what has been hidden, to dive deep into the mystery that longs to meet us." Hushed whispers vibrated through the congregation, some hearts racing in curiosity, others, perhaps, in apprehension. Sarah could sense an awakening within her, an unquenchable thirst for truth. The shadows in her mind flickered and dimmed, making space for something new, something profound. Visioning herself standing at the edge of a great abyss, she pondered what lay beyond. "Is it courage I need?" she found herself asking, even if silently. "Or is it trust in this journey?" The cloaked figure's eyes seemed to answer her unspoken questions. "Trust," they echoed, mirroring the deepest desire within her. "It is the light you must carry in the storms yet to come. Hold it like a lamp, illuminating the shadows. For when darkness envelopes your path, it is the heart's faith that will guide you through." A ripple of murmurs passed through the gathering. Sarah noted the faces around her, enraptured yet focused. Together, they created a circle of light, embracing the call to deepen their faith. She grasped at the hands beside her, fingers interlacing, creating a strong bond that seemed to whisper, "We are in this together." The pastor approached once more, uttering words that painted the air with hope. "Consider the mustard seed, small yet potent. Within us lies the power to manifest incredible change. Each conflict, each worry, can be transformed into a stepping stone for wisdom and growth." As if orchestrated by unseen hands, the congregation shifted into a rhythm of shared breaths, an incredible harmony with every heartbeat resonating in time. Sarah could feel the quietude sweeping over the space, an outward manifestation of inner peace merging with the collective spirit. "Where is your mustard seed?" the pastor encouraged. "Plant it within your heart and witness the miracles it can cultivate. Embrace your fears, they are simply shadows of light yet to be discovered." The enormity of that idea sank in deeply. Each serving of doubt she harbored could spark faith anew. What if her fears paved the way for transformation, unlocking treasures of strength and resilience buried beneath? Sarah's gaze caught the cloaked figure's once more, a swirling figure of light and mystery. "Believe in the work of your hands and heart," they urged, "for you are creators of miracles, not mere spectators. What if you arrived at a place where the possibilities are infinite?" With each word, a yearning built inside her. She imagined possibilities unfolding like petals of a blooming flower, each layer revealing colors anew. The pastor turned to face the congregation again, his eyes alight with fervor. "Let us come forward. With every step you take, let your faith illuminate the path ahead. When we move together, the ground shifts beneath us. Miracles await those who dare to walk." And with that, an invitation hung in the air. A call to action. Sarah's heart raced, a mix of excitement and trepidation. Would she take that step? Could she truly embrace the unknown? The thoughts crashed through her mind, swirls of hope and uncertainty grappling for space. As she stood, the room seemed to pulse with expectation, like the stillness before a storm. Shivers of energy coursed through her as she found her feet moving forward, drawn by an unseen force. What would she discover on this journey? As she forged ahead, each step felt laden with the promise of something divine. But what awaited her at the threshold of that new place? What would grow from the faith she dared to sow? Was this the moment when her life would be transformed forever? With each step, the warmth of hope enveloped Sarah like a soft blanket, soothing her racing heart. The congregation moved as one, a sea of souls stepping boldly into the sacred unknown. There was a rhythm, a pulse that felt divine, guiding them toward a new horizon. As Sarah crossed the threshold, she sensed the atmosphere shift, vibrating with an energy she could hardly describe. She felt the whispers of prayers wrapping around her, lifting her spirit. It was as if a great congregation of angels surrounded them, nudging them onward with unwavering faith. The cloaked figure stood at the front, arms outstretched, inviting everyone to draw near and share in the divine revelation. "Tonight is a gift," the figure proclaimed, voice resonant with a depth that struck a chord within the hearts of many. "Every step you take is a confession of your faith. Each movement is a stride toward what you might believe is impossible. Are you ready to embrace the truth that you are more than your struggles?" A mighty chorus of amen rippled through the gathering, echoing the longing each heart harbored. Sarah's pulse quickened. Yes. She wanted to be ready. She wanted to absorb every drop of wisdom that the night had to offer. Her eyes glistened, reflecting the flickering candlelight surrounding them. She felt connected to those around her in a way she had never known before. As they gathered closer, the cloaked figure beckoned them to share their own mustard seeds. "What do you carry within you?" they inquired, searching their faces with a penetrating gaze. "What fears? What dreams? What whispered prayers in the dark?" One by one, believers began to step forward, hearts unearthing secret aspirations. A young woman spoke of anxiety shadowing her ambitions, while an elderly man expressed the desire to reconcile with a long-lost friend. The haunting echoes of their fears, illuminated by shared vulnerability, created a sacred space of acceptance and community. "Fear is simply the absence of light," the cloaked figure reminded them, their hand gesturing upward as if calling forth the heavens. "But there is light within each of you, waiting to be unveiled. Let your faith turn those hidden fears into a force of creation." The words hung in the air like starlight, reshaping the atmosphere around them. Sarah felt the pent-up energy within her mingling with the collective courage rising from the group. What could she contribute? Stifling her doubts, she finally felt a gentle nudge to speak. "I felt lost," she began, her voice quivering ever so slightly but growing stronger with each word. "I doubt, often wondering if I'm ever enough." As she spoke, something freed itself within her spirit. It was as if the very act of sharing illuminated shadows she had kept hidden. The cloaked figure nodded knowingly, their eyes sparkling with compassion. "You are never alone in your struggles, dear sister. The universe mirrors your openness and responds in kind. As you sow your fears, you will reap the grace that follows." The congregation leaned closer, drawing strength from one another. A soft hymn began to rise, voices melding like a rich tapestry woven from individual threads, each note a testament of faith and resilience. Sarah could feel tears of relief trickling down her cheeks as she joined their harmony, her heart swelling with an indescribable joy. This was a place of healing, a sanctuary where she could shed her burdens and let her faith blossom, even against the odds. As the last notes lingered in the air, the cloaked figure raised their arms higher. "Now let us pray, not for what we lack, but for what we can manifest together. Let us ignite the mustard seeds in one another, lifting our dreams to the heavens." The room pulsed with undeniable hope, reverberating with a divine urgency. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of spirits intertwined, a promise to stand united in trust and faith, but just as tranquility filled the air, a sudden rustle surged through the crowd. Eyes widened as the figure turned, revealing a portal shimmering with ethereal light at the far side of the room. What lies beyond? Sarah pondered, feeling her heart race again. Was this yet another phase of her journey, the unveiling of deeper mysteries? What awaited those who dared to take that bold step into the light? As the portal shimmered, a collective gasp swept through the congregation. It was a breathtaking sight, a halo of luminescent colors swirling, inviting and intimidating all at once. Sarah's heart raced, pounding against her chest like a drum echoing in the stillness. What is this? What lies ahead? She whispered to herself, her curiosity battling her fear. The cloaked figure smiled knowingly, their gaze sweeping over the crowd, igniting hope and wonder in each soul present. "Fear not, beloved ones," they began, their voice calm like a gentle stream flowing through a vast landscape. "This portal is a reflection of what you have already ignited within yourselves. It is not merely a passage but a manifestation of your collective faith and dreams. Step forward, if you dare, and embrace the unknown that awaits. Each word reverberated through the assembly, echoing in the chambers of Sarah's heart. An eagerness to move flickered within her. Could this lead to her truth? To her purpose? But doubt again clawed at her mind, wrestling with the promise of potential. Around her, the others stirred, ignited by their shared courage. Hands clasped, hearts beating harmoniously as they exchanged nervous smiles. A young lad stepped out first, his youth radiant with ambition. "I will go," he declared, determination lighting his features. The crowd erupted in encouragement, their voices merging like a powerful wave. One by one, others followed, each taking brave strides towards the luminous gateway. The air around them crackled with divine energy, a tangible sense of purpose intertwining with the atmosphere. As Sarah watched, the worries that had once chained her heart began to melt away. "May my mustard seed grow," she breathed, taking a step forward, her feet moving without conscious thought. With each stride, the warmth surrounding her deepened. It was as if the very essence of faith was wrapping around her, urging her on. As she approached the glowing portal, the cloaked figure raised their hands once more. "Remember, you carry within you the spark of creation. Trust what you feel. Step through, and embrace your divine selves." When Sarah finally stood before the portal, light enveloped her like sunshine after a storm. A surge of clarity washed over her. She was not just stepping into a new realm, she was stepping into her truth. Tentatively, she reached out, her fingers barely grazing the vibrant light. Instantly, an explosion of sensations enveloped her. A kaleidoscope of colors danced in her vision. Memories of love, hope, and even the darkest moments of doubt flooded in, colliding harmoniously. Time seemed to stretch infinitely. With each passing moment, Sarah felt a sense of belonging, a knowing that every joy and every trial had led her to this very point. She understood now that was the essence of faith. As the past intertwined with the present, a melody soared within her spirit, echoing a powerful truth: she was enough, just as she was ready to take that leap through the portal. A sudden rush of energy surged through the crowd. The light pulsed, revealing visions of what awaited beyond. Glimpses of transformation, calling her even further into the adventure of faith and discovery. With one last exhilarating breath, Sarah contemplated, what is destiny formed in faith? What wonders await those who venture forth? And in that moment of anticipation, Sarah stood poised at the threshold of the unknown, determined to embrace whatever awaited her on the other side. What revelations lay in wait? What divine tapestry of truth would unfold before her? With her heart racing and the colors swirling around her like a celestial dance, Sarah felt the pull of the portal intensifying. Each pulse was a beckoning, a divine invitation to step into the realm beyond. She could hardly discern her own thoughts amidst the kaleidoscope of emotions whirling within her. "Trust," she murmured, her voice barely rising above the comforting hum of the atmosphere. It was not just the light that beckoned, it was the voice of eternity moving through her, urging her to embrace the greater plan laid out long before her time. As Sarah stepped fully into the luminous embrace, a warm, golden glow enveloped her, lifting her off the ground. The world around her blurred into a brilliant tapestry of shimmering lights. She found herself suspended in a space that felt vast, yet intimately familiar. Here, time was irrelevant, and the burden of worries that had weighed her down vanished like mist in the morning. In this sacred space, Sarah felt the presence of countless souls, those who had walked before her, whispering encouragement. She sensed their love, their guidance, as if they were all connected in a heavenly chorus. Above her, swirling patterns formed images of faith, hope, and miraculous deeds, weaving through one another like a tapestry of divine promise. "Seek and you shall find," echoed a voice that felt rooted in eternity. It resonated like a soft chime, drawing her focus deeper. It was a truth that reverberated within her very core, lighting a fire of understanding. Each beat of her heart synchronized to this new reality, each moment unfurling like petals of a flower. Sarah glanced around, taking in the incredible scenery. Glimmers of light danced like stars just out of reach, and paths of radiant energy stretched invitingly in every direction. Each path shimmered with distinctive hues, representing different journeys, different truths waiting to be discovered. "Where do I go?" she asked, her voice echoing in the stillness. "Follow the light that calls to you," the voice replied, now a gentle breeze. "Within you lies the compass that can guide your steps." Her spirit surged as she turned to the nearest path, drawn by a vivid teal light that sparkled like rare gemstones. With each step, she felt invigorated, the energy wrapping around her like a cloak of divine encouragement. It was as if each footfall struck a chord that echoed through the realms, resonating with the heartbeat of the universe itself, and then suddenly, the path branched. The teal light flickered in one direction while a brilliant gold shimmer invited her from another. Her heart drummed in her chest. Both paths called to her, promising revelations and experiences beyond her current understanding. Which path do I choose? She pondered, feeling lost yet exhilarated. In that moment of hesitation, she felt an overwhelming wave of warmth, a divine embrace washing over her. It was then she realized that faith was not merely about choosing a path, but the courage to embark on a journey, to trust the light within. With a deep breath that filled her with resolve, Sarah stepped forward toward the path of teal, heart aflame with eagerness and wonder. She could sense the infinite possibilities ahead, woven into the fabric of her very being. As she ventured deeper, she could hear the whispers of the souls surrounding her, encouraging her onward. They embodied not just the promise of what was to come, but the truth of connection. Her heart soared with the realization that she was never truly alone, that faith had always been a bridge connecting her to the divine. But just as she thought she understood, a sudden flicker flashed through the air before her, revealing unexpected shadows along her path. A thought crossed her mind: what challenges might await that I cannot foresee? As the light wrapped around her, Sarah felt a stirring of anticipation. There lay mysteries still obscured, challenges perhaps, but also treasures of wisdom waiting to be unearthed. Could she truly navigate this journey in faith, amidst the uncertainties? And so, with her spirit ignited and a newfound resolve echoing within, Sarah pressed on. What lessons awaited her? What truths lay hidden in the depths of faith? The path of teal unfurled before Sarah, vibrant and inviting, drawing her in with the promise of revelation. Every step felt like a mini miracle, as though she was walking on air, the light beneath her feet holding her steady. Whispers of encouragement enveloped her, like a warm breeze rustling through the trees of life, alive and full of purpose. Within this sacred space, she saw flashes of memories, reminders of loved ones, of struggles that honed her spirit. Instantly, gratitude flooded her heart like an overflowing cup. "I am made for this," she exclaimed, feeling a rush of joy that spilled out into the atmosphere, creating ripples of light around her. But then, shadows danced at the corners of her vision, reminders of doubt creeping in. What if this is too much? They hissed softly, threatening to unearth her anxieties. What if I fail? Yet, as those thoughts wandered, so did an undeniable strength, each fear met by the resolute heartbeat of faith. She took another step forward and felt the warmth of divine presence pulling her deeper down the path, reminding her that surrender to the journey was the key to peace. Her surroundings shifted slightly, colors blending into gospel hues, tender pastels emerging like new life. Then, echoes of cries pierced the air, rising from the fabric of existence. Figures appeared alongside her on the path, each face alight with the glow of possibility. The townsfolk filled with prayer, her son's laughter echoing softly in the background. Suddenly, Sarah felt the weight of their hopes wrapped around her. She realized she wasn't just walking for herself, she was navigating a journey for all those who had stitched their faith into the tapestry of her story. In that unified space, the cloaked figure materialized once more, their aura remarkable and full of authority. "You've come a long way, beloved. The light you seek lies within you, waiting to be birthed anew. Each step forward is ignited by your willingness to embrace the shadows." They motioned to the shifting light around her, urging her to look closer. "What does it mean to embrace the shadows?" Sarah asked, her voice tender with curiosity. "To accept the journey's challenges as divine teachers," the figure responded. "What if those fears you carry were not burdens, but instruments of growth? They are part of your faith's richness." Her heart thudded as clarity washed over her. Maybe the shadows weren't foes to be feared but friends guiding her to authentic encounters with grace. If I embrace them, will they lead me to transformation? She pondered, allowing hope to sweep through her like a tide. Indeed. The figure smiled knowingly, weaving the light of their gaze through her and igniting each piece of her spirit. When you welcome those parts of yourself, you invite healing and miracles to unfold. You become a vessel for light. As the truth stirred within her, she felt the courage to confront her fears, each worry, each doubt that loomed like a fog. It felt like the holy ethereal brushing against her skin, gently urging her to release everything that tied her down. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but they were tears of joy, reminders of her awakening as she took control of her narrative. I am ready, she declared, her voice lifting, echoing confidently through the ethereal realm. And in the very moment she committed to embracing her fears, a flash of brilliance erupted before her, illuminating the path ahead. The air thickened with a shimmering presence as spirits danced around her, weaving threads of divine love around her heart, tethering her to every brave soul that ever dared to step into uncertainty. Trust the process, they whispered, harmonizing in joyful crescendos. Invigorated, Sarah pressed onward, feeling a surge of purpose bubble within her. What wonders await? She wondered excitedly, her spirit soaring with anticipation. And then, before her lay incredible vistas, landscapes of promise cascading with colors only they could imagine. With every step she took, she felt lighter, an unmistakable freeing of burdens, and the shadows that trailed behind began to flicker and fade like smoke in the wind. Surrounded by the warmth of community, she realized she was nurtured by love's embrace, a tether that united them through the unbreakable cords of prayer. In that moment, the final truth dawned upon her: she was not alone in this. Her journey of faith was threaded intricately with others, wounds mending, stories becoming one. As they moved forward together, Sarah felt an inexplicable peace settle over her, the knowing that every step she and her companions took was a victory over fear, a melody sung in harmony with divine purpose. This is it, she whispered to herself in overwhelming gratitude, my heart has weathered storms, yet behold, it rises victorious. As dawn broke beyond the path, a radiant light cascaded over them, illuminating each face, each heart beating in rhythm. They were all manifestations of miracles, carrying the collective dreams to the forefront, their individual struggles transformed into shared strength. Sarah stepped boldly ahead, encouraged by the energies swirling around, a vivid affirmation of faith, the culmination of everything she had prayed for and more. She knew now this was the manifestation of divine time, it was their moment. She could almost hear the whispers of the heavens promising, miracles are all around, just wait. And she knew, as they walked on together toward their divine destinies, this was not just an ending, but a glorious unveiling. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that will inspire your journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help this message spread. Comment your reactions and testimonies about the ending. You may just encourage someone else in their own journey. And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope and faith unfold. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second.